I throw a beater on. Fall to my knees, thank the Lord for the new shalom. I wake up before I throw a beater on. Fall to my knees, thank the Lord for the new shalom. I wake up.
Hey, welcome in and welcome back. This is Name Brand Radio. So today we are doing something a little different. I hope I'm in the shot. I can't see myself. So normally this is a window cleaning podcast, soft wash podcast, exterior cleaning, whatever you want to call it. Today we have a very special guest. We are doing an entrepreneurship episode. We are lackluster on time, so it will be around 30 minutes. Not too long, not too short, but I do want to introduce a very good friend of mine, Aric Soyring. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. So, let's see. Oh. Thank you. Okay. I'm still getting used to the soundboard. So, I want to have Aric on because he is a entrepreneur. Would you call yourself an entrepreneur?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Beginning stages.
Yeah. We're all in the beginning stages. So, he's been very motivational. Like, we started going to the gym together right after high school. Yep. I obviously didn't keep going, but Aric, you had a lot of goals and you met them, and it's very hard to find someone who is our age that is consistent with anything.
Absolutely.
A job or business or whatever. And you have had quite the number of jobs. I know we all have. I've had probably 6 or 7 jobs in my time. So I just kind of wanted to go over it. Let's start out with, you don't have to name every job that you've ever worked, but
sure.
Let's go over, some of the smaller jobs when you first started out of high school and, where you are today.
Well, straight out of high school, I actually I started at GNC, so that's where I started my sales experience.
Awesome.
Started at GNC and worked there for 3 years, I think, maybe 2.5 years. That's kind of where I built my sales foundation, which was retail. And from there, I kind of bounced all over the place, as all high schoolers do with their jobs.
Yep.
I worked at a golf course for about a year. I did, GNC was actually towards the senior year.
Okay.
So before that, because I've been working since I was like 16.
Same.
I had worked at a golf course for a little bit, worked at a body shop for a little bit. So I got
it was Lowetta Automotive.
Yeah, Lowetta Car Clinic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Lakewood Car Clinic on Lowetta.
Yes. So okay.
With that, kind of bounced all over the place, and with that, I did industrial. I did the oil field. Going to college and all that stuff. So, been a little bit all over the grid.
So I want to touch on that. You said you went to college.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time, would you still go to college?
I think having an associate's degree kind of establishes that, go-getter mindset when it comes to big companies trying to hire. But I really think it all depends on, because let's be honest, like being an entrepreneur isn't for everyone.
No, it's not. Let's get that out of the way. Okay.
It's not for everyone. It really isn't. As far as, getting that associate's degree, I think is a great foundation. Pursuing a bachelor's degree, I think that's where it actually comes into, do you want to be a surgeon? Do you want to be do you want to go out beyond the limits of that bachelor's degree? Because let's be honest, no one ever went to school for 4 years and wanted to do that exact same thing the rest of their life.
Yeah. I went to school for radio, which technically I'm doing radio at the moment, but I'm not getting paid. I never in a million years thought I'd be a window cleaner. I didn't know there was an industry. I didn't know there was money in it. There's a ridiculous amount of money in that, which is absolutely insane. But I do want to touch on, that's a good point. Not everybody can be an entrepreneur because when I thought of a business owner, like I have a cousin in Indiana, he does, I won't say a number, but a lot of money in construction and real estate.
Right.
And every time before I was a business owner, I would see him, I was like, dude, all this dude does all day long is hang out at the house. He's playing video games. He's in Florida one day. He's in Jamaica the next. Dude, let me tell you, you work triple the amount of hours owning a business than if you're an employee. Because I know so many employees that are like, must be nice to be the boss, man. Dude, if you knew what a boss had to go through mentally every day.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
It's hard enough. I think it's hard enough getting that self motivation and sticking with doing what you're doing. I think it's a whole nother level to hire other people underneath you to do that same thing, and then also coach them and make sure that they're not damaging your business, that they're not messing around on the clock, that they're they're
productive, they're efficient.
So I think that being an entrepreneur is definitely something that it takes more mental strength than it does, obviously physical strength. But.
And like the legal issues, you can't just like hire somebody. Like, there's a lot of legal things that
contracts and all that good stuff.
I mean, you have to get an EIN, a BIN, you have to be an LLC. How are you going to do your taxes? Like so many things that I had no idea was going on. But cool. That's a good starting point. I did want to go over, you have a car show that you run, which if you're local, it is, let's go over the name because I apparently said it wrong.
No,
I call it Driver City, and the real name is?
So the real name is Driversity, and I am a man of puns, and that's where I get my sense of humor. So when I initially brought it up, I said it as Driversity, and literally the first day at my event, or my first event, people were calling it Driver City, and I'm like, well,
on the sticker, I think there's a space.
So on the sticker, there's in my logo, it's the D is capitalized and then the C in city is capitalized. So it makes it look like it's two separate words. So bottom line, make sure that your marketing is correct.
Very clear.
Was the worst marketing ploy of mine. So,
you might have to rebrand.
But it does work. People love the name. They like the little Houston cityscape in the background.
I love it.
And at the end of the day, that's another thing is if you are going to be an entrepreneur and you are going to do your own business, have a name, but don't think too much into it because at the end of the day, people are going to be paying attention to your service. They're going to be paying attention to the quality of your service, what you have to provide, how you speak to them. And that was something that, I had to put a lot of thought into after getting that name.
A lot of people do it backwards. Like I know a lot of guys in my industry where they spend 10 grand on equipment.
Right.
And then they call me and they're like, how do you get a customer?
Yeah.
Or they're like, how do you bid this job?
Yeah.
Same way. Like you could think 2 days on your name and you can have a perfect logo, but you have to have somebody to service.
Yeah.
And I really like what you do. Like you had a show going on at Bombshells.
That's where I started.
That got shut down because of some crazy people doing burnouts or?
No, actually I backed out of it because another group came in. I initially wanted to work with this specific group and they wanted nothing to do with the venue. And then they came in, started doing their events there. I went to management and said, what's the point of me being here if these guys are going to do the same exact thing I'm doing? Like, you guys want a spike in sales, but you want these other guys. So,
and you don't want to compensate me for it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much the compensation. It was more so of, there's no point in me wasting my time because these guys were established. These guys have been in the game a lot longer than I have. Yeah. I'm the little guy, which is another lesson. Stay confident, always keep going.
If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yes, definitely stay your course. Don't get discouraged. But no, I actually backed out of there because of the rough activity that started happening after that group, and then another group actually came in. So I backed out right at the right time because I support family-friendly events. I want families. I want kids. I want everybody at my event. Whether you're driving an exotic or you're driving a high school beater. Yeah. I want to welcome everybody that has a passion for cars. So.
Exactly. And I want to go over, so technically, I guess it's not your car show that they do at Rudy's, but you're involved in that kind of ish.
No, actually, that is a good friend of mine. He runs it's called a Speed Advocates, the Speed Advocates meet.
Do they have social media?
They do. Their Instagram is Speed Advocates. So it's SPEED ADVOCATES.
Go give him a follow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the phenomenal events. I actually learned. He actually gave me a few pointers along the way from and that's how I got my events established. And yeah, so I think he does Rudy's in Tomball, and he does Rudy's in Webster as well.
Because I heard it's a pretty big show.
Yeah. So he's been doing that. I mean, he's been in the game for like 12, 15 years, something like that. So people know that the event's going to be there. And that's the point that I'd like to get to is I know that, people know the events are going to be there. He doesn't necessarily have to even post on social media.
Yeah. It's kind of like cars and coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. People know it's going to be there. They know it's going to happen. They know the kind of crowd it brings.
Yeah.
And so people go. And that's something that I'd like to, eventually get going to.
So would you like to stay where you're at 2920 Roadhouse?
I am actually not doing events at 2920 Roadhouse currently. I got a few other venues going on. I got one in
Do you want
Katy.
to talk about what venues they are? Like, are they
Yeah, sure. So I got Lupe Tortilla in Tomball, and it's kind of like
off Spring Cypress?
Off from 249. So it's Lupe Tortilla and
Right next to the Red Robin?
and Red Robin. Yeah,
Okay,
it's like
yeah.
right. It's like a twofer.
Okay.
Type of event.
Wow.
So I got them. I have Shiloh's. It's called Shiloh's Food Court. It's like a little. It's actually
In Pinehurst?
Yeah, Pinehurst right there at Decker Prairie.
Yeah.
249.
Yeah.
So I just got them. That's an event venue I'm kind of playing with. I like the atmosphere there. They got taco trucks. They got burgers, tacos, crepes, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2920 Roadhouse. I might still be doing events with them in the future.
I mean, it's a small place if you want to grow.
Yeah.
Like, if you want 200 cars there, it's not going to work.
No, for sure. And that's another thing is the bigger is not always better, which is another business lesson. Grow slow is the best way of going.
Yeah, dude.
With that being said, I'm kind of all over the place, but I think that kind of offers a different crowd at each event. So obviously doing an event in Katy is going to be different than doing an event in Tomball.
Oh, man, speaking of that, you did a couple shows at Grub Burger, right?
Yes, so I did. So that was my first Katy venue, and I actually...
Very nice place.
Yes. Unfortunately, they got shut down 2 to 3 months into COVID. Man. They still have their Woodlands location.
Yeah.
But they are not... They're no more in Katy for some reason. I don't know why.
Because that strip center, I could be mistaken, it's next to, like, World of Beer.
That I don't know. I know it's in a strip center, but I think there's like a hospital.
Because it's near
over
Cinco
there.
Ranch.
It's at Greenhouse and I-10. So
Okay.
it's right on the outer limits of Cinco Ranch.
Okay, yeah.
So-
I've been there a few times.
Yeah. So I did a collaboration event there with Black Label Texas. And I don't think he's doing events right now. I think he has one coming up, but as of right now, I'm working with Extreme Off-Road Performance down in Katy.
Really?
Yeah, so they do. Actually, I met up with them last week. I met DeAndre Hopkins.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, so I met
Breaking news.
met DeAndre Hopkins. I met another Houston Texans football player.
What was he doing down here?
He's actually a regular customer with them. So if you go on their Instagram, Extreme Off-Road Performance,
Give him a follow.
they actually just recently built him a 71 Plymouth Hemi Cuda. It's a blacked out. It's awesome, man.
Dude, because I know I'm not a big football fan, but he plays for the Cardinals.
Yeah, he
now?
just got traded, or I think he got traded from the Texans to
right.
the Cardinals.
I knew that.
Yeah. So really nice guy. I had it was literally like a minute and a half conversation.
Of
but
course.
I was like, "Hi, how's it going?"
I met Chuck Norris one time, and I was like 9 years old, and I walked up, and I was just like staring at him, and he was like signing my book. He's like, "Hey, man," I was like, "I do Taekwondo." I unplugged my microphone. That was the only thing that I could think of. I was like, "I do Taekwondo." He was like, "Oh, cool, man."
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
It's cool to meet famous people like that. They cater to quite a few famous people in Houston. Of the names I couldn't tell you, I just know that they cater.
Yeah.
I mean,
High dollar.
Yeah, I mean they typically. I mean it's. I mean, so he took me through a tour of his shop, and they actually had a McLaren 720S torn apart, and it's cool to see one of those on the road.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see one torn apart. Like to have the nerve to tear one of those cars apart. Like that's the premium level that these guys provide. So Very excited to work with them. I'm just going to be doing events with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll start up in the next 2 or 3 months. So
Next time you go, let me know because I want to go check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are they bigger than All Out?
them and All Out are actually competitors. I don't know if they're bigger.
Because I didn't know until yesterday. All Out has multiple locations.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they do have multiple locations. I honestly I haven't heard much from
So does
All Out.
Extreme Off Road also have multiple locations?
That I don't know. I've been following them on Instagram for a little bit, and I just now met the owners, and so I'm starting to learn a little bit more about their business. I love the owner's mindset. Talk to him. Really good. Same mindset as far as what he wants for his events and things like that. So really excited to work with him. But yeah, no, that's something I'll have to find out.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about is like, I don't know how you do it, but you're a networking guru. Because you don't have to go into extreme detail because there's other topics I want to get to.
Right.
But how in the world did you start running a car show? Like you started networking, obviously. You met the owners of Bombshells or, 2920 off-road.
Yeah.
2920 Roadhouse. Or how does that just come naturally? You just like to network?
Man, I don't know. So
You just got lucky?
Well, so 2019 was a really rough year for me. So got out of a relationship in 2019, and then I started. I was like, I just want to do something for me. I just to do something. And back in high school, I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you did this, but having car shows in the Academy parking lot with 6 or 7 18-year-old dudes, not still buying B-dubs with mama's money.
I mean, car shows where you're like, hey, come out, and it's just crickets.
Yeah. So
when's everybody coming?
Like, all right, cool. That's initially what I thought this was actually going to be. I was like, hey, I want to have a car meet with a few friends. Yeah. And they're like, well, you need a minimum of 20 people to have this event. And
I'll find 20 people.
Yeah, I didn't even know 20 people on my Facebook that were interested in cars. So, and so I made a public event on my personal Facebook page, and I had 120 vehicles at my first event, man.
Yeah, I mean,
so
pretty decent.
Yeah. So with that being said, that's really what built my foundation for networking, because in those events I started talking to people and this and that. And I was like, cool, I didn't know I had this talent to market my event this well. And so with that, I was like, I want other people to come to my events. I want to have special guests. Yeah. I want to have vendors, this and that. And so I actually had Bane at my second or third event. So Bane, it's a big turbo 300ZX. He was actually famous on 1320 video.
I thought you were talking about the energy drink.
No. I
was like, you had Bang?
Yeah, no,
dude.
and not Batman's nemesis either. So he brought that car out, and then I had another buddy. His name's Wes. He brought his twin turbo G35 out. So you get these special guests, and that brings attraction. You post that up, be like, hey, this car's gonna be there if you guys want to check it out. Yeah. And that's the reason I kind of brushed over that topic again, is because that's really where it all started. So, and that was a talent I didn't know I had. So then when I started marketing to different places to do events there, and, from that point on, it was really now I'm doing general contracting, and I'm trying to bring people in there. And, I've had other jobs where I've just networked to bring customers in. Not necessarily to my benefit, but just because I enjoy networking, get to know people, which is another rule in business, is you always want to get to know everybody, your customer. You want to get to know your customer the most. And so with that being said, building relationships essentially is the best way to go with that.
I mean, because I know when you had your show at 2920, me, Tim, and a bunch of other people came out. I don't even remember who was there.
Zane, I think, was there too.
Matthew. I don't think Colton was there, but it doesn't matter. You did a very good job of, saying hi to your friends, but I feel like you were always aware of hey, somebody's walking by, hey, I want to say hi, hey, I run this place, or, you did a very good thing. I thought it was very cool with Tim, you're just like, hey, VIP parking.
Yeah,
man. Like,
yeah, man. He finally got his Escalade. I'm happy for him, man.
He has a very nice Escalade.
Yeah, he does.
Very nice Escalade.
Yeah, it turns heads. Everybody's like, dang, what's that Escalade?
Yeah. We dynoed it in College Station, and it like blew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We dynoed it. We drove all the way there. It was like a big deal. A buddy of his has a 300, a very nice 300. So we all drove out there. We were having a good time. We were the last dyno of the night, and
man.
everybody was staring because like it's a clean Cadillac, very clean. It's like supercharged, 6.2, I think, fully heads. It's ridiculously loud. So everyone's watching. We're on the dyno. Hit one pull, hit two pull. On the third pull, nothing. All electronics die. Like
Dang.
just won't turn over. And the owner of the shop was like, "Hey man, you gonna wheel it out of the shop because we're closed?" And we were like, "Okay."
Dang.
And we didn't know if we were gonna tow it back to Tom.
Gave him the boot, man. That's not cool.
That's besides the point. I think you did a very good job of just making sure that you were always available to talk to somebody. I think your networking is very good.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, I think and that's one thing is always been kind of frustrating to me. Although I have to go back to, I'm still in the beginning stages. Been doing it for about a couple years now. But my buddy who's kind of been, who I go to for advice, like I said, he's been in the game for like 12 years now. He's so established where he doesn't necessarily have to run around his events and like make sure no one's doing dumb stuff.
Yeah, it's just like a business. I mean, once you get big enough, you don't have to be there every day.
Yeah, and I'm at that point now where I'm just stepping into that level of calmness and the energy that is at my events. People know the energy. So typically the guys doing dumb stuff, they're not going to be there because they know that they're not going to get much attention.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, it's just been kind of I sweat a lot at my events.
Yeah.
I run.
Yes.
But yeah, so circling back to what you had mentioned about, addressing people is I always like to make sure my friends know, like, hey, you please come on out, but don't be offended if I can't get to you.
Yeah, I'm busy. I'm busy.
Because, it's a brand. You want to protect your brand.
Yeah.
Which is another business point, is you always want to do what's best for your brand.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your friends, your family, anybody says. You always want to protect your.
You can talk to your
brand.
friends any day of the week.
Yeah.
If we go to your event, you can be like, "Hey, Aric, it was so good to see you, bro. Thank you for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Right.
I have to go work."
Yeah. Yeah. It's
don't be offended.
Yeah, and the real ones, your real friends are real customers in that perspective are going to understand that. So
yeah.
No matter what your business is, if you have to tell a customer that you're busy or that, it's going to be a few days before you get back to them, if they're a true customer and a customer that is worth you spending your time with them, they're going to wait and they're going to understand that, hey, you're a busy guy or busy girl. They're going to still use you in the end. So
yeah, I mean, I did Timmy's roof wash the other day, and Timmy's always helped me out in my business. He's been very gracious to me, and he basically called me. He was like, "Hey man, I need my roof washed. How much?" And I gave him a killer deal.
Right.
Like, basically just charged him chemical and labor.
Nice.
And I was like, "Man, I'm gonna try and get to you this week. I'm super busy. I have other customers." He's like, "Don't worry about it. If you can get to me, get to me." And he offered way more than the deal that I gave him, but I didn't take it because he's helped me. I'll help him.
Right.
And it was the same thing. It was like, dude, if you can get to me, you can get to me. If you can't, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But we're getting to the end of the podcast. I do want to go over, there are 2 topics left. I'm going to let you pick on what you want to talk about. So we have wholesaling. Eric's getting into wholesaling, and I think it is so killer because we were talking before the podcast about the Mo Money guy on TikTok.
Con.WTM.
That dude's hilarious. And I wanted to talk about his business goals on where he's come from, where he is now, and where he sees himself in 5 years, because he is very motivational. I think he's came a long way. He's done a lot in his gym life. He's done a lot in his business life. And I think he's finally starting to get it, that it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart.
It is not.
if you want it bad enough, you'll do it.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
So I'll let you pick on which one you want to talk about.
Well, to be honest with you, man, wholesaling is a pretty big topic. We can go. We'll finish all business goals today.
That sounds good.
I feel like as far as because stepping into business, you always want to have like a 5-year plan,
Yes.
a 3-year plan, a 10-year plan, what have you.
Write it down.
Yeah, write it down. Post pictures on your wall. Those Lamborghini posters we used to get at the Scholastic Book Fair in 5th grade. Those little things are really going to help push you into that mindset of the drive that you need. So one thing that, we were talking about earlier is I've been listening to a lot of Andy Frisella. So he has a Spotify. You can look him up on YouTube, Instagram. Spotify and YouTube, I think, are his most used platforms. But with that being said, I think my 5-year plan, and this wraps up into an Andy Frisella podcast, but my 5-year plan is to have a 7-figure income. For me, that would be at the age of 31 because I'm 26 now.
You're old, man. You might die.
I'm getting old, man. Tell me about it. Like,
I'm 26 too, man. I wish I would have started when I was 18. Don't you wish that you knew what you knew now?
Oh, if I only knew. But I will say that there is nothing better than the process. Looking back, I wouldn't have changed anything I did different.
No.
Because everything that you do today, whether you're 18, whether you're 16, whether you're 32, 50, everything you do up until this day has led you to the mindset of, oh, I want to be a window cleaner. Yeah. Oh, I want to be an event host. Oh, I want to be a real estate agent, whatever it may be. And I think that having that 5-year plan is always important. But what's even more important is working towards that 5-year plan, because if you keep having to shift that 5-year plan, and before you know it, it's like a 25-year plan.
If you could go back to your 18-year-old self today, like if y'all could meet and you told him, look, dude, this is all the info I know, please do this, you wouldn't believe yourself.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, you know what, man?
I got it figured out, bro.
Yeah,
I got it figured out.
Go kick rocks, and I'm going to keep working my $12.50 an hour job.
Yeah, I'm killing it.
Yeah, I'm killing it. I'm rich, man.
Dude.
And of course, I'm still with my parents.
I got $300 in the bank, bro.
Yeah, man. It's mindset has been something that, again, so 2019, like I said, was a pretty impactful year for me. Made me realize a lot.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've got kicked down a couple of times more after that. But it's taught me a lot. And, I think looking back at all those bad, all the bad experiences that I've had, with people or with myself or whatever, I have nothing but thanks to them and to myself for going through those processes, because again, it molded me into who I am today. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's a lot of, as far as being an entrepreneur, I really think that that's what a lot of people actually overlook, is they don't really, they're like, it's December 15th and I have yet to meet my yearly quota, or, what my yearly goal or whatever. They don't look at how far they've come, they're always focused on how far they haven't gotten.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you can't, it's so hard to say, but you cannot look at other people's successes.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Because I have seen, I'll give you an example. My boss is 4 years younger than me.
Okay.
And when I started with his company, before I started, he was doing $200,000 a year.
Dang, that's impressive.
And I was making a lot less than that. He was just, talking to me. He's like, hey, I need you on the company. I think we could use a lot of you. We would value your presence. And I was like, dude, you're pulling how much in, bro?
And you don't believe that, especially with somebody younger than you. You really don't believe. It's like if you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, when he's like, you know what, show me a paycheck, I'll quit my job right now.
Yeah.
Like, I make $72,000 in a month or whatever he was saying, and it's like,
you're thinking that's not possible.
Yeah, and he saw it and he's like, all right, yeah, by the way, I quit.
Yeah.
And some people, have that. I don't want to call it a luxury. Some people have that that blessing or that fortunate. What's the word I'm trying to use?
That's a great question.
They're fortunate enough to have parents that are already wealthy or that have the experience in that field or whatever. But regardless, I mean, if you look at a lot of entrepreneurs, whether it's Gary Vaynerchuk, Andy Frisella,
Grant Cardone,
all of them had a really deep past, and they literally started from nothing.
Yeah.
So when your friend who is making $200,000 a year, I don't know the guy, but
he's making more than that right now.
But say he has parents that are multimillionaires.
Exactly.
You can't hold that against him because, at the end of the day, you got to think parents are going to support. I mean, family's family. You always want to look out for family.
Yeah.
But, a lot of those people, a lot of people who are multimillionaires are typically business people who own their own business.
You're not going to be a millionaire being a W-2.
And they know, and they know the process of getting to that level. And so in knowing that process, they're going to teach their kids the same mindset.
Yeah.
So that guy making $200,000 a year, I'm assuming he either caught that ambition a lot younger, or he caught that ambition at a young age and started to apply it towards something he liked to do.
Yeah.
And that's how he got to where he is today. So I don't know the guy, but like I said, at the end of the day, you just got to stay focused on your goal.
I'm going to have, because we're doing a podcast together, and if you're available, I'm going to have a 3-piece part 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be awesome. But, man, hey, we're at 30 minutes. Long story short, I had a very, very long day. Aric, thank you so much for coming on the podcast,
man.
because
Thanks for having me.
I was super late. I literally jumped out of the shower, hopped on the podcast, set everything up. Aric was a great sport. Before I go, I wanted to say, dude, if you need some window cleaning equipment, give me a call, 862-312-2023. I got my new Zero shirt in. If you're not rocking Zero, I don't know what you're doing. Obviously, always order through WCRwindowcleaner.com. Make sure and check out tomorrow, squeegeelife.com. They are going to be live with Marshall. Marshall's a really good friend of mine. I cannot wait for that podcast. Of course, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to American Window Cleaner Magazine. I know Eric's like, what? I don't know what any of this is.
Nah, man, go for it, man. Sell it, man.
I just want to put those plugs in before I go. This was an amazing podcast. I wish I had 4 hours like Joe Rogan does.
We'll get 4 hours. We just got to split it into 3 or 4 sessions.
I could go on for days, but Aric was a great sport. I really, really hope that we have a part 2 because this dude's a very smart guy, and he has a lot of information that you need to know. I'm telling you. So at the end of the podcast, this is going to be a short 2-minute question, 2-minute answer.
Absolutely.
Do you have a mentor? And if you do, who is it?
Man, I'll be honest with you. Most of my knowledge and my mindset has been built around experiences.
Okay.
Almost at the table. Experiences and podcasts. So look up Grant Cardone, Gary V, Andy Frisella. Andy Frisella is my main go-to right now. But that's who I've just kind of stuck with, and that's where I learn. And those are my mentors per se. It
doesn't have to be anybody you know, but everybody I feel like that is an entrepreneur has a mentor. Like somebody that just sparked something in them to be like, I have to quit my job and make some money.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Somebody like that. Definitely was Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay. He was my start. I love his story. But again, like I said, a lot of those guys have that same story where they were an immigrant that came here, or they, were doing drugs and they cleaned themselves up and making 7 figures now. But yeah, that's
because I feel like I almost got out of the matrix, if that makes any sense to you. Like once you get out of the W-2 9-to-5, trading time for money, horrible idea. I look at it like I don't know if I forget the movie with Chris Farley. He's wearing these sunglasses and he flips them up. He has the shades on. And he flips up the shades, and it's just the glasses part. It was really popular in, I want to say it was the 80s or 90s. Way back when.
But that's pretty much what an entrepreneur, diving into that different realm of a mindset. That's basically how that works. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Name Brand Radio. I cannot wait to see you next week. we may have Chase on the podcast. We may have somebody else on the podcast. If you liked this interview, if you liked Aric and all of his shenanigans, please comment below and let me know if you want to hear from him again, because I personally want to have a part 2. And if you have 30, 40, 50 comments on, hey, I like that Aric guy, we will have a part 2. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time. This is Name Brand Radio.